You are listening to the Black Sitcom History Podcast with Shannon and Summer, where we explore issues from episodes of the most popular and polarizing Black television sitcoms from the 1970s and beyond.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Black Sitcom History. I hope you all are enjoying the episodes thus far. I ask that you continue to listen in. We're going to try and have 3 episodes a week for you guys. We're going to try and go ahead and push it up and see how that works out. Something that we forgot to mention in episode 2 was we have some social media platforms going on. Tell me about that real quick, Summer.
You can check us out on Instagram at Black Sitcom History. And we're also on YouTube, so I will leave a link to that. We'll go ahead and leave some links in the show description for this episode. So yeah, definitely check that out. Our Instagram is already on our page, so for our show, so you can find that there. But that's pretty simple, Black Sitcom History. So yeah, keep up with us there, and we would love to connect with you all. And my husband introduced me. He called me Summer, so you know who I am. And what's your name, handsome?
I'm Shannon. Thank you for that. Something else I wanted to say. If you guys have any comments, please leave some comments, feedback, positive, of course. And if it's anything negative, make it something that we can improve on, to make it a better show for you all.
Yeah, rate the podcast, rate the episodes, and yeah, definitely we will appreciate some constructive criticism that'll help us along our own podcasting journey. And
just remember, we are semi-professionals. We're trying to get everything squared away and quality and everything better for you all as time permits. So with that said, we're going to get started with the Jeffersons.
Continuing on with the Jeffersons, where are we? Season 1, episode 3.
Right. This is it Louise Feels Useless, or was it another name for it?
I found The Good Life is Bad for Louise, and I also saw Louise Feels Useless, which is basically the same thing.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this episode aired February 1st, 1975. I almost said 2075.
2007. Man.
I was about to say February 1st, 2075.
You did teleport to the future from last episode.
I know. We're not there yet, but
we're not there yet. So, this episode, Louise is starting to feel useless, like the title, like the episode says. Louise feels useless. She's not helping out like she would want to. She has not value in the life that they're living, but no responsibilities besides just being home, living the good life. And that's what George wants her to do. He says it in the episode, I put in all this hard work so you didn't have to work.
Right.
It's easy now. And George, he thinks everything that when there's a problem, money is the answer. So he tells Louise, well, it was a problem before. You were working, now we're making money. I solved that problem for you. So just relax, learn to enjoy it, spend some of this money that I'm working hard for you and me as well.
Right. She's definitely the fish out of water. Like she even mentions too that she thought money would be the answers to all their problems. But when you go from one type of lifestyle into another one where the women who are like her, housewives, now she's a bored housewife. She doesn't know what to do. Some people are not bored housewives. They have plenty to do. They go shopping. They go to the theater. They go here, but that doesn't interest her. It's not anything that she would like to do.
I think she wants to contribute to their lifestyle.
I think she's just bored.
You think so? Okay.
I think she's just bored, and then she was looking to feed Lionel and make breakfast for him and do this, that, and the other. I think she's just bored and doesn't know how to exist in this new lifestyle.
Well, yes, I understand, because I'm the type of person where I have to do something throughout the day. I can't just sit. Like, I have to find something to do.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know how to just relax sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know. I know.
Like I feel like I have, even like if I'm sick, I have to get up and go outside. I can't just.
And I'm like the opposite.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, if I tell you I'm doing nothing, that does not mean I want you to find something for me to do.
Right.
I'm doing nothing because nothing is what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
But that's definitely not Louise at all. She's like, I need to be doing something. Right. She feels like she has no purpose, and it brings me to this. I think that's what it is too. I don't think she necessarily wants to work, or not necessarily work. She doesn't necessarily want to contribute. She just wants to have a purpose.
That's it.
Because that brings me back. Our old former realtor that we had when we bought our first house. She said this word that I had never used before. She's like self-actualization. It's like, think about how you want to live and be in your new home. Like, what do you see yourself doing?
What did you see yourself doing?
So
excuse me. What did you see yourself doing? Nothing.
Chilling, relaxing. I wanted to be in my domain, my safe place, my little haven. But no, I mean, I didn't even know what to make of that necessarily. I mean, I knew what she meant, but I was just like, oh, I just thought it was just a new vocabulary word for me at that time. Like, oh, okay, I get that. But I think for Louise, it's like that word comes to mind, self-actualization. Is like important to people to have meaning and purpose in their lives. And for her, meaning and purpose wasn't just going out and shopping and spending money.
But I agree with you. I think that's what it was, just purpose in life. Like she matter of fact, I have that written in my notes. I just hadn't gotten there yet. So purpose. And she feels useless, no purpose. George runs the cleaner. Lionel's in school, and he has a social life. Right. They actually leave the house. They are not in corona quarantine, so they're able to leave the house. So I'm pretty sure those four walls are closing in on her on a daily basis. And yes, she feels like she needs to do something and also have a purpose of what she is doing. George tells her that he earns the money for the right for her to stay at home, to be. He doesn't necessarily say a housewife, but he made the money. He's making money for her to be able to stay home,
right?
Take care of home,
and that, and also the fact that he is mimicking what others around him are doing, because we know George Jefferson. George Jefferson is not about to have his wife out there working. Not if Tom's wife's not working. Louise not going to be working.
And he says that later on in the episode as well. So, but yeah, he tells her to go see a show, go to the museums or whatever. But she wants to get a part-time job. He's like, no,
having it.
Other people here in Manhattan, their wives aren't working. My wife not gonna work. We here, we're gonna be just like everybody else who sit at home and be bored.
Right.
Or learn how to spend money. I'm giving you permission to spend my money. How many how many husbands say that? I'm giving you permission to spend my money. Maybe she
it's her money too.
Yeah, maybe she wanted to hear our money. Maybe
I don't know.
More comfortable with
Did
that.
he say my money? Or did you just say that?
I think I said that.
I don't think you said that.
I
think I would have caught that.
Oh, see?
Ain't no your money or my money. It's our money.
Yes. It's our money.
Our money.
So, he tells her to just start enjoying life. And it's something that she needs to learn how to do.
Right.
Once again, George, he's at the top. So he's like, look, I'm going to do it. I'm telling you to do it. So hop aboard and let's start doing it together.
Right.
So, and if you guys didn't know, Mr. Bentley, he actually worked for the United Nations as a Russian interpreter. I'm going back to episode 2, you all. Summer mentioned Mr. Bentley, where he worked or whatever. So I meant to bring that up in episode 2. So I'm sidetracking a little bit. But yeah, so he worked for the United Nations as a Russian interpreter or whatnot. But yeah, so George is trying to turn Louise into something that she really doesn't want to be. But now that they're living in that lifestyle, something that she needs to learn how to be.
Right.
So in one episode, one scene, Louise is at the Willises, visiting the Willises or whatnot, and the Willises have their dry cleaning delivered, and I would think that it would have been the Jeffersons delivering the dry cleaning.
The man that don't like them?
Yeah, but the cleaner
because it's in the building.
Is in the building, so I would have thought it was him. So, but it turns out to be a competitor of George's dry cleaning, and as he's talking to the Willises, Louise overhear him say that he needs help with his business.
But back up a little bit. But right before that, Helen and Tom encourage, because Louise is pretty pissed off at George for not, I'm throwing up air quotes, allowing her to work, and Tom jokingly says like, well, why don't you get a divorce? Like, well, yeah, and just say because my husband wants me to be a woman of leisure or something like that. Yeah. And that's my reason for wanting a divorce. So they're teasing and joking with her, but then also saying, she should find her own path and do what she thinks is right.
It's right for her.
And that's when it, enters Mr. Wexler, the dry cleaning, George Jefferson's competition.
Yeah, competition. Yeah, so Louise hear him mention that he needs help with his business, but Louise doesn't know that it's Mr. Wexler, the competitor of George, and she intervenes and say, well, I'm looking for part-time work. Do you mind giving me a chance? And Mrs. Willis is like, trying to stop her. Like, no, you don't know who this is. You don't know who this person is. And once he gives Louise the card, she looks at the card like, oh no, like it's a dry cleaning, But she doesn't care because she wants to have, like Summer said, purpose.
Right.
So she decides to take the job anyway, even though it's a competitor of George.
Right.
So, so she takes the job without talking to George about it or are asking him his thoughts about taking a job. And of course she wouldn't, because it's his
right.
competitor.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't discuss it with him anyway. Well, that would be reason number 2. First of all, he didn't want her to get a part-time job. Now she has a part-time job. The second part of that is it's his competitor.
Right.
So he definitely would have said no about that.
Yeah. So that's I want to get into that.
Yeah, let's get into that. But okay, let's get into that right after this break then. Let's go ahead and take a quick break.
Okay.
And when we return, we'll get into the what your thoughts are about
Yeah,
that.
because I want to talk about some things related to Louise, a couple things related to Louise and George's relationship and her going to work for the competitor. All right, you all, we'll be back with more of the show, and we'll get back with you in a minute. We are back, and you're still listening to Black Sitcom History.
Yeah, you better be. No,
Don't be mean.
Yeah, no, I'm not a mean person. I just want you guys to listen in, because these episodes are very interesting, because a lot of things that were taking place in the 70s are still pretty much going on in today's society. Marriage relationships and friendships.
Race issues,
Yeah.
class issues. I mean, it's just fun for me to watch these episodes because I just have a different viewpoint, a different world view. I see things differently, and obviously I'm an adult and not a child, and I understand what's going on, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's what this is about.
Yeah. Now
Have you ever had that moment when you listen to a song and that you heard it when you were younger, and then you got older and you're like, oh, that's what they're talking about?
kind of like Billie Jean?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what?
Mine was like Saving All My Love for You by Whitney Houston. I'm like, oh, that's what that's about?
Yeah. Yeah, mine's like Billie
She's
Jean.
the
Like,
other
what?
woman?
What are
What?
you talking about?
That's what she was talking about. I was just singing my little heart out. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming back. Before we went on our break, we were talking about this episode and Louise's bored housewifedom. But Shannon, I wanted to talk about, the idea of loyalty, because, was Louise justified in going behind? This is television, right? This is entertainment, right? But still, people do sneaky things behind people's backs in real life, but maybe not to such a dramatic degree. I don't know, but maybe the worst degrees.
I'm only laughing because, I'm not I don't follow famous people really, but what's going on right now with the Will Smith's people? What's her name? Jada and Will?
Well, you know their names.
I know, but I know her name. I liked her since she was on a different world. But anyway, like you said, loyalty. But anyway, go ahead, man.
Anyways, that's a whole other conversation, but I don't know, maybe we'll come back to it. But anyway, so with Louise, I don't know. I feel like it's like you don't go and work for your husband's competition unless you are so pissed off at him that you don't want to be his husband, want him to be your husband anymore.
Right.
That's like, what? Of course, George Spended at some point was like, why don't you just, once he found out, why don't you, sabotage him or whatever? But no, but still, that's like, again, we're talking about television. It's a comedy, it's a sitcom. But yeah, what do you think about something like that, and just kind of the shadiness of it all. And she was really keeping a secret, and she wasn't even good at it. Like, she missed appointments, and she didn't show up where she was supposed to,
and Mama Louise accused her of cheating because they had a museum date, and Louise never showed up. So Mama Louise asked George, do you think
who's Mama Louise?
I mean, that's Louise's mama.
Mama don't like Louise.
Yeah, that's right. I meant to say Mama Jefferson.
Mama Jefferson.
Yeah, so Louise did not show up to the dinner date or whatever they had. So Mama Jefferson asked George, does he think Louise is cheating on him or whatever? And of course she wasn't. But back to your question, the loyalty part. She told George what she wanted. I mean, it's like you have to make some type of compromise. But if the other person doesn't compromise, doesn't mean you have to go behind their back and do what you want to do without the person knowing. And that'll cause more problems.
That causes more problems. I think she might have not even told George that she was going to work just because of the competition, because she was trying to like really kind of stick it to him. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do what I feel is right for me. You have me locked in this, well, not locked in this house, but you're trying to dictate to me that I can't do what I say is purposeful for me.
Right.
And so I think she had a valid kind of motive to seek out employment, but she knew she was wrong for going to the competition. That's why she didn't say anything.
Yeah. And it was one of those things, and I've learned from consequences that it's not always best to ask for forgiveness before permission, And that's what she pretty much lined herself up for, was to ask for forgiveness, But I feel like she should have told him, well, like you said, if it wasn't the competitor, I think she should have told him right off the back, like, yes, I have a part-time job. But since it wasn't the competitor, since it was the competitor, she couldn't tell him, and that's the main reason. Right, that's the main reason she was keeping everything a secret to him.
Sure.
Because other people knew.
Well, yeah.
The Willises
were there. Yeah,
the Willises knew, and Mr. Bentley knew. And that brings us to how George found out that Louise was working for Mr. Wixler.
I don't remember how they found out, because I remember she was late for or she came home, but she had missed the meeting up with Mama Jefferson. Right. So tell us about.
And I'm glad you don't remember that. I'm one up on you. So what happened was, Mr. Bentley came over, and as he walked in, he spoke, and the next thing that came out his mouth was, "Louise, how's the new job?"
Oh, yeah.
And George was like, "What?"
I must have been typing or something. I don't know how I missed that.
Right. What new job or whatever? Yeah. And Louise goes ahead and tells George, like, I have a part-time job with Mr. Wixler. And first George is upset, and then he's like, well, maybe you can sabotage his business so, we can prosper off of your what's the word? Sabotaging. Sabotaging.
Yeah.
Sabotaging.
It's one of those
words. Sabotaging.
Yeah.
His competitor.
Yeah. But he just took after that. He was real funny, like, cause he said after that, she just like got really upset with him, and finally he said, okay, you can work at the cleaners. He thought he was gonna stick it to her and have her work in the Bronx or somewhere.
Yeah. Right. So he he's like, okay, so look, you want to work so bad, you can work for the cleaners. I'm opening up a new store in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want to work.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't want her working close to home because he doesn't want people seeing her, his wife, working.
Working at the cleaner.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But anyway, so that was just like, I thought about her going behind his back, and I don't know. I mean, like, people get over stuff in 24 minutes on sitcoms, right?
Sitcom, that's all they have.
That's all they have. It's, there's the big issue, the big fallout, and then everything is fine by the end of 26 minutes. But in real life, don't go work for your spouse's competitor,
right.
or take the side of your spouse's competitor or someone that doesn't care for them. It's so funny. I think about loyalty. Think about that video we saw about the she loyal.
I don't remember that. Sorry.
That's okay. But anyway, so
yeah. So Louise asked George, why can't she just work at the cleaners downstairs? And his reply is, I don't want any H word seeing my wife working. So like Summer said, he doesn't want the
white people,
the people he's rubbing elbows with, to see his wife working if their wives aren't working.
Right.
So it was something else in this episode I wanted to ask you about. Do you think, like, today and then, wives rather be housewives? And number two, think that they should be housewives?
You said back then?
Yeah, back then and now.
Back then and now?
Back then, do you think?
I think that so to go back, I think that because women were very used to women and men, they were used to a certain family structure. They, in the case of George Jefferson and Louise Jefferson, it's like if you were kind of on the lower class rather, and maybe your wife had to work to help out. But I definitely think that it was culturally, maybe not in the 70s, but maybe earlier than the 70s, it was just very normal for a husband to go out and be the breadwinner, while the wife is a homemaker, right? But in this case, I don't know how much Louise has worked. We know she worked some days, back in the day as a maid. How much working she did? Did she work full time? Was it just part time? I don't know that much, but I think that at that time it was just normal. But I think over time, 70s, 80s, more and more women were interested in going to college, getting degrees, and having careers like men. And because of that, I think we're seeing a newer trend too, with women maybe thinking that wasn't the best idea. Because I say that because in a lot of cases, and I was just having this conversation too, I think with my mom, we were having like a conversation about women running households or being primary breadwinners in households or something like that. And our conversation wasn't that deep, but I'll go a little bit deeper into it here. But the thing about it is that women may have gone into getting careers to fulfill whatever, career desires that they had, and being breadwinners and maybe running households in some cases. If those women are married or have a domestic partner that they live with, right? And they happen to have children, I think the big problem is that even though women want to be out there working and self-actualizing in a career, the men aren't necessarily self-actualizing or desiring to self-actualize as a primary caregiver to kids. So while women are trying to not necessarily compete, but maybe compete in some ways with men aren't trying to compete with women on homemaking or housekeeping and taking care of kids. And that's where the problem comes in. I don't think, women may be able to work and achieve as much as men, but it becomes a big, huge burden if you're also the primary person that's taking care of the household, being a primary caregiver to children, and maybe also being the primary person cooking and cleaning and doing all that stuff. If it's not shared, then that's where it kind of starts to bog down women. So I think I'm seeing now women kind of like, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. Maybe I would prefer a lifestyle where I'm taking care of my kids, or I'm taking care of the house, because that's what I'm doing anyway.
Yeah, and to backtrack with Louise, Lionel's not a kid.
Exactly.
He's grown.
He's grown. He has no needs.
So she really didn't have any day-to-day activities to take up her time. Mm-hmm. So once again, she was bored, And I don't know how rich the Jeffersons were, but you can't spend money every day. Well, I guess you could, but you can get bored of that, I guess. I don't know. But so I somewhat agree with you. I always felt like if the tables were turned, right, and I was a stay-at-home, not me, you're a stay-at-home husband, right? And then you have all these other stay-at-home moms in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Like something's bound to happen somewhere down the line. Like the attractions might occur.
Oh, well.
I always thought that, if it's always just housewives, then you're good. But you might have that one house husband with all these housewives, and some jealousy might come up somewhere.
I've seen that on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll play it for you. I gotta find it. I don't know if it was, I think it was Fuller House. Remember Full House? Mm-hmm. And they have Fuller House on Netflix, and John Stamos' character, Uncle somebody. One of the uncles, he was going to all the mommy and me things with the kids, and the wife was she was an on-air personality. Our friend with the Lori Loughlin's character, our friend who who Lori Loughlin is, cheating to get her kids into USC.
Oh, okay.
And anyway, so she's John Stamos' wife, and on the show, and she is working, and he's taking care of their kids, and kids, and they all the moms have a thing for him. Mm-hmm. He about to get caught up in some mess. Now he's not on Fuller House. He wasn't about to get caught up, but Aunt Becky, she didn't like it. So anyways, sidetrack.
Well, yeah, that was a sidetrack. And then and now, we will always talk about the episode at hand, but we will sidetrack and talk about how they they coincide with just life in general. But we will definitely try to stick to the script at hand.
Maybe,
but conversation is always good.
yeah.
So on that note, we're going to end this episode, and we're going to see you guys. See you guys. Do we see you? Because we can't hear you guys unless you leave comments and discussions for us to talk about. So
yeah. So once again, check out that Instagram. We'll leave that information in the description. And actually, like I mentioned before, our Instagram is in our podcast description. So check that out. It should be a link there. Black Sitcom History on Instagram. Chat with us. Connect with us there. But yeah. Once again, thanks for joining us on this episode.
I'm Shannon.
And I am Summer.
We will see you in the next episode. Or on the next episode.
The next episode.
On the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.